guys. So today we are going to discuss about traumatic responses. What are some of the traumatic responses?
I think I know of the most common traumatic responses.
Yeah.
That is flight, fight, freeze, and people pleasing. So I think those are the 4 basic traumatic responses that I know of. The first one, fight. What do you think fight is? Like, as a traumatic response, what is fighting?
I think like talking back and throwing tantrums.
So basically, I think it's I want to use the same word to define it.
Okay.
Fighting. Maybe if you're going through something, you tend to fight it. For just like you said, for example, talking back or just fighting it, right? And then we have flight. What do you think flight is?
To run away from something.
Yeah, so that is another traumatic response. When you're going through an issue, maybe you might tend to want to run away or to avoid the issue at the moment, or to just keep off it. And the other one is to freeze. Some people tend to just give up. There are some people who don't just like stress. They just want to give up. I mean, when they go through hardships, they tend to just give up. You get, or like get excessively anxious, or they just don't want to associate with the issue anymore. And the last one is people pleasing. I think that's self-explanatory. Like people pleasing. You just want to do things that will make other people happy. You don't care about maybe your own happiness. You want to just please other people. So when we go through hardships, definitely, first of all, when we go back to the word trauma, definitely trauma is after you face a challenge or a hardship, right?
Yeah.
It comes after you face a challenge or a hardship after you go through it. You understand? After life has shown you its real face. After it unveils its real face. Now, the traumatic responses are what you do after you go through this.
Yeah.
After you go through the hardship, after you go through the challenges, what do you do? What do you do to face these challenges?
Or how you handle them.
Yeah, how do you handle these challenges? Now, the responses that we've just defined are the most common hows.
Yes.
I think every person has a certain level of trauma.
What
Don't
do
you
mean?
think? Yeah, like each and every individual, everyone. There's no one who doesn't have trauma.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think everyone.
Rich kids
That is
don't
my-
have trauma.
Rich kids.
What trauma do they have?
Money is the cure for everything, even trauma. No, I think having defined trauma as a response to maybe a bad incident or a challenge or a hardship, I feel like each and every person has gone through trauma.
Yeah, that's true. But then I think the level of traumas differ.
Yeah.
If at all there are levels of traumas, but everybody has definitely faced a challenging experience in their life.
Yeah, I think they're all unique. You might find that 2 people have gone through the same thing. For example, 2 people have gone through rape or sexual assault, but the way they will respond to this thing, or the way they will feel about themselves after this thing, is very different. You get?
Yeah.
There's someone who will maybe feel they'll hate themselves. They start to, most of the people actually, they start to alienate themselves from the society. But there are people who will still be at least present, right, here, even as they are going through that traumatic experience. So I feel like people might go through the same experiences, but the responses now, the traumatic responses now differ
True.
right?
Yeah.
Just as we have said, fighting, the most common ones are fighting. You fight it. Freezing.
Flight.
Yeah, you run away from it, you avoid it, you don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you start pleasing people or doing things to just make other people happy, even when you are not happy or when you are not considering yourself at all. By the way, I was having a certain discussion with some people, and I was asking them, you remember that question about what is life?
Yeah.
I was asking them, and then we defined in the 3 ways: think, purpose, comprehension, and I don't really remember the other definition, the third one. So about comprehension, I think it is somehow connected to this topic of trauma. Like, after going through a challenge in life, there are some people who do not have life in them. I think that's what I would also define trauma as. That phase where someone feels like they do not have life in them. That phase where someone feels like they do not have a purpose.
Is trauma the same? Like, okay, I feel like the way you're describing it, is it the same as depression? Because when someone is depressed, they definitely feel like it's as if they have no life in them.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same the same as depression. I think depression now is related with stress, with the mind. Trauma is not more about the mind. Trauma is more about you, how now you behave, how now you react to things. You can be when you're traumatized, you can be depressed, but it's not a must that you are depressed because you are traumatized.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So you can be traumatized. Maybe you tend to relate certain things. You tend to be triggered by certain things, but you are not depressed. Do you get something like post-traumatic stress disorder? I think that's trauma. I think that's trauma. Like, every time you see a similar thing or a related thing, you are triggered to react in a certain way, right? Say, like, you're triggered to flee, to run away from certain situations. Have you ever found yourself like you're going through some things, some situations that are similar, and then you find yourself wanting to run away from this situation? Immediately it starts to turn into a similar situation like one that you have
previous
been, like the previous one, right? Yeah,
you're like, never again.
Yeah, I can never go through this again.
Yes,
but it is not the same situation. It's just a similar one, just that the trauma from the other situation,
you haven't healed yet.
Yeah, you haven't healed. You are still traumatized. Now this is how you are responding to this trauma.
So for this case, then you are choosing the flight option.
Yeah, you choose to avoid when things are getting hard. You choose to just avoid that situation. Or you find some people who choose to fight. Have you ever found someone who is fighting for something that is not even there? You want to really fight for this thing. You want it to really work out. Let's say, for example, you want something to really work out because you have been disappointed before in a similar way, and you have to make sure that this one works out. Even if maybe it's hurting you or it's a hard situation, you just want it to
work out.
Yeah. So I think those are the basic trauma responses, the most common ones.
What are the other ones?
So today I think we can discuss the ones that are not common.
Okay.
So let's say things that you didn't know were
traumatic responses.
Exactly. One of them is shutting down.
We got you.
Have you ever been in a situation where you just felt like you want the world to stop so that you can, or you want to press the pause
stop button.
Yeah. Shukisha bara, shukisha. Huh? Especially with this Kenyan economy. I feel like that's my traumatic response. Shutting down. You shut down and you're just there, but you're not there, right?
Yeah, you shut people.
Yeah, you've completely shut. I think this is related to numbing pain also. Yeah?
Is it?
Numbing pain and shutting down. Okay. Whereby you are numb and you just can't feel the pain anymore. You're numb to any pain. You're numb to being hurt, you're numb to feeling overwhelmed, you're just there. And then there's shutting down, where you shut down completely.
Where you cut everybody off. You cut everyone off.
You just shut down. Like, you just say enough is enough. And I think they are related. Don't you think? Numbing pain and then shutting down.
I don't think, personally, I don't think they are related. Because shutting down, it's more like cutting off people and just being alone and being disassociated with the rest of your friends, maybe, or your family or something.
Or say the world.
Yeah, you just want to be alone. But as for numbing the pain, it's just that you choose to not feel these emotions or this. Yeah. You just choose to. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. Whereby you shut down, you don't want anything. You don't want to do anything. You don't care. Let's say you don't care about anything. But now numbing the pain comes where you have control over the response.
Control, yes.
Yeah. Now you don't
to.
feel. Yeah. You don't feel any pain. You can do anything to maybe someone, or someone can do something to you and you're not even
bothered.
You're not even scared.
You're just unbothered.
That is a traumatic response. Did you know that?
Did you? And another response is keeping busy or pretending to be busy yet you're not. Guys, that's another traumatic response.
Maybe when you're going through it and now you want to keep yourself busy.
Yeah, you don't want occupied with everything else apart from you thinking about whatever is
exactly. You don't want to deal with whatever is happening. Maybe currently when you're going through a hardship, you don't want to be there, to be in the present moment. So you keep yourself very busy. You do a lot of things just not to think about what you're supposed to be thinking or to deal with the issues that you are facing.
Yeah.
But that is a traumatic response.
Yeah, also. But I think the best way is facing your monsters. You should just face it head on.
You should face it head on.
Because you won't run away from your problems forever. One day when you're not busy, it will hit you.
But I'll be busy for the rest of my life.
And just face your monsters and deal with them.
I agree.
And then,
at least you'll be done with it. And you can be able to move on to other things.
Yes.
You won't be going, maybe when you're going back home, going back to the same monsters and to the same issues that you left there yesterday or in the morning or in the evening. Yeah. And another one that you didn't know was a traumatic response is getting defensive. Getting defensive or playing victim. You get defensive when maybe you are wrong, or when you go through something, you get very defensive about yourself. You get defensive in that you don't allow yourself to be accountable. You understand? You don't allow yourself to be accountable in whatever you are going through. You get very defensive. Like, you don't want to be the one on the wrong. Let's say, for example, you do not want to be the one on the wrong. You come up with so many excuses to cover up for what is happening. You defend yourself a lot. For example, maybe you are going through something, and then instead of just admitting that maybe you are suffering or you are going through a hardship, you start saying the way you are not. You start defending yourself. You get?
So you mean all lawyers have traumatic?
Wow. What do you mean all lawyers?
Because these guys are very defensive. These guys are very defensive. They won't accept any mistake that they've made.
Really?
It's like when they are going for the classes, for their classes, they are told deny.
They have a traumatic response unit.
It's a sin.
Wow. Yeah, and then there's that playing victim. You play victim in everything. You turn everything into you now being the one who is suffering, you now being the one who is going through the problem. Instead of facing that issue and handling it straight on, right?
Yeah.
You turn it into now a pity party.
Pity party.
Mm-hmm.
Heal, guys. Okay, heal.
Guys, you should ask her if she doesn't have a traumatic response the way she's getting. The way she's coming after you guys. Ask her.
Yeah. Ask me in the comment section.
Mm-hmm. And then I think another one is too much independence.
But it's good to be independent. Do you want me to be dependent on someone?
There's being independent, and then there's being too independent to a point where you won't allow anyone to help you. You can't be on the receiving end of the help anymore. You are too independent. Do you think that's okay?
To be too independent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd love to be with someone who is too independent.
What?
Do I?
Someone who is too independent to a point where they don't even need you now.
No.
That's being too independent. They don't need you. They don't need you to help them with anything.
But can they help me with something?
Yeah, they can help you.
A lot, or...
They can help you, but you can't help them. Okay. You can't be there for them in any way.
I wouldn't mind being on the receiving end.
What?
I
don't think I'd start feeling guilty.
Guilty of what?
Because I'm always taking from this person.
But you've offered and you've tried to offer and they don't want you.
But now that is their traumatic response. And I feel like I wouldn't be comfortable maybe being with... yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be comfortable.
Try
because because there's a point that reaches that you want to feel like you are valuable to someone, or you are worth something to someone. You know, the only way to cuff someone is by doing something for them. It's by giving something to them that they hold very precious. Mm-hmm. And then you know that at least with this they can't even let me go. With this, I have them. You see?
Okay.
Yeah. So you still wouldn't mind?
I wouldn't mind.
What?
Give me. Suffocate
Damn.
me. But okay, it's not as if I wouldn't be offering them something. It's just that I'll be offering them, but then they say they don't want. So that's not my problem.
I'd get to a point where I'm not comfortable with that. I feel like I'd get to a point where I get tired of that. Yeah. If you can't receive from me, I don't know. For real. I don't know.
But I can't as if
I can't be with someone who is too independent. I can't, because I feel like people start disrespecting you when they see like they are giving you too much and you are not giving them anything. I know they are not accepting the help, you get, but me, I wouldn't feel good if they are not accepting my help or my presence, or they are not depending on me in a way. I wouldn't be comfortable, guys. Would you be comfortable? Maybe you could tell us in the comment section.
Yeah, I know there are some Rachels there who will be comfortable with that.
Her sisters and brothers.
Follow me.
You are there.
So another response is walking away.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just say enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
You pack your things and just leave.
Yeah. Walking away is the same. It's the same as flight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or it's similar to flight. Flight you avoid totally. Walking away you just go. You just go. When something happens to you, you just walk away from it.
You don't want any explanation. You don't want to give any excuses. You just leave.
You just go. You just leave it at that, and then you just go.
Is it the same as ghosting someone actually?
Yeah, it can be the same as ghosting. Maybe have you been with someone, or have you had a friend or a family or someone? Have you related to someone in any way who responds to trauma in a different way from yourself?
What do you mean?
For example, you would want to, maybe when you're going through something, you would want to fight on. You would want to confront someone. You would want to solve the issue. You would want to talk about it. And maybe their response is flight. So when you are going through something maybe with them, they tend to just leave it at that. They don't want to talk about it. They're just like, it's okay, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, okay? It's normal. It's very normal because
and common.
Yeah, it's very normal and common because people have different ways to respond to certain issues, and people are raised differently. And you can't expect the fact that you know how to handle situations head on. You can't expect the same from me. Maybe I'm comfortable with walking away and never talking about it. So yeah, it's really common. And
yeah, plus I think from this discussion, I feel like there's no right or wrong traumatic response.
Yes.
We all respond to trauma in our own different and special ways, according to what we have been subjected to, maybe while growing up, maybe in our homes, in our families, or just with how we have grown up, or with how we have related with people even in these lives, or with whatever we have gone through. So you can come across someone who has this response, flight, fight, or whichever response that we have mentioned, and it's very much okay. It's very much okay. There's no problem about it. And you can also have more than one traumatic response.
Yes, but I think how to handle this, it's by talking things through.
Yeah. But you can reach to a point where you don't want to talk also.
Why?
Because maybe you are so done. You are so done with something. So you can get to a level where now your response is flight. You get?
Yeah, and it's acceptable because there is a point where somebody reaches and it's like, I'm done. Yeah,
or you freeze. You can get to somewhere and you just freeze. You just give up. You don't want anything to do with whatever is happening. You just freeze yourself. And it's very much okay, guys. Yeah. So that was our time today. We hope you enjoyed our conversation where we were talking about traumatic responses. And if you have any question or anything you want to comment about traumatic responses and maybe your experiences on the same, leave a comment.
Yes, leave for us a comment down below.
Yeah.
You can even give us a thumbs up to show that you're listening.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Continue sharing our content. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. Share. You can also follow us on Instagram, POV byRaey&mitchy.
Yes.
TikTok, POV byRaey&mitchy. Facebook, the same. Yeah.
Thank you. And
Bye.
ciao.